In the world of Elder Scrolls, you can cosplay and play as whatever your heart desires. So what if we took a character from a different magical world and put him inside this magical world? In Middle-earth, there lies a wizard by the name of Gandalf. Gandalf is one of, if not the most famous wizard in history. In the movies, we see Gandalf use a wide variety of skills to best his opponents. By watching back the movies, we can see all the types of spells he uses and dictate what we can use in Skyrim. The rules are simple. 1. We can only use spells and magic that Gandalf uses in the movies. The movies are an important note because if we went off the books and Silmarillion, we could dictate using every power. 2. No melee weapons or ranged weapons. Even though Gandalf wields the blade Glamdring or Foehammer, the run would be too easy with a sword. Looking back at the movies, we can see the spells we can use. We can use basic fire spells up to the fireball, as we can see him ignite pine cones into fireballs in The Hobbit. We can also use any ward spell we want, as we can see this used in Helm's Deep against the Balrog. We can also use telekinesis going off the scene when he was fighting Saruman. I will also use restoration spells, as it is safe to assume in the movies Gandalf knows these, even though we don't see them. We can also use any skills that are not involved in combat, such as alchemy and enchanting. So, can you beat the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim as Gandalf? I started off the run by waking up in a carriage,
Hey, you. Finally awake.
doing some race swapping, and then settling on a high elf for their magicka bonus, and then seeing a man getting his head chopped off. I then froze on the ground while the rest of the game loaded around me and was able to get control of my character, where I parkoured around Alduin, got out of my chains, and then performed first-degree murder by burning someone alive. I then performed some more illegal acts and walked in on more illegal acts, which may or may not be in violation of the Geneva Conventions. But eventually, after breaking every law known to man, I added one more by committing animal cruelty. After leaving Helgen as a prison escapee, serial killer, and animal abuser, I was welcomed with open arms to the city of Riverwood. Here I would be told to go to Whiterun, but before doing that, I'd help my fellow elf out with his lady problem. I would then run straight to Bleakfall Barrows, where I would commit more arson and murder, and retrieve the Golden Claw from Arvel. I would then run through committing more atrocities, where I'd run to the door and figure out my game was glitched. Learning that the rings wouldn't turn, I would save and restart my game where nothing was fixed. I was then forced to perform some forbidden magic and walk straight through the wall. Once I did that, I would slowly pester the boss with my fire, where eventually he would die and I would pick up the Dragonstone and leave to go off to Whiterun. Before going into the city of Whiterun though, I would go to the carriage and head off to Winterhold to access the College of Winterhold. Here, I would complete some basic training with the ward spell and then spend some money to get training in destruction magic to make sure I was more powerful. After leveling up my destruction magic, I went into Whiterun, told the Jarl about what happened at Helgen, and gave his wizard the Dragonstone. Soon after, a dragon appeared, and I was tasked with killing it, letting the Whiterun guards do most of the work since my fire spells were like pissing on the dragon. I then learned I was Dragonborn and was called the High Hrothgar. Before heading there, I pulled the Bethesda special and jumped out of bounds to get some quick coins from the chest under the Skyforge. I did the same with the infamous Dawnstar chest, robbing an unsuspecting vendor of all their goodies. After all this, I used the carriage to get to Riften, stole a horse, and ran to Redwater Den to clear out their underground meth lab and get the spell Telekinesis. Continuing my journey, I climbed the steps to High Hrothgar, burned some people alive on the way up, got shouted out by old people, did my best Flash impression, and then left to fetch their horn. Upon reaching the location of the horn, I cleared out necromancers and mages, only to find that someone had already taken it. Returning to Riverwood, I was greeted by everyone's favorite character, Delphine. She gave me the horn and asked me to help her kill a dragon. After spamming fire until it eventually died, I returned to High Hrothgar to give the horn to the Greybeards. After finishing my training and getting shouted at again, I returned to Delphine to sneak into the Thalmor Embassy. The Thalmor Embassy quest is always annoying, but with enough hiding to regenerate magicka and jumping around, I spammed fire attacks to kill everyone. I then saved the dude from imprisonment and learned nothing, as the Thalmor knew absolutely nothing about the dragons. The only thing the Thalmor had on them was information about some old kook in Riften. So next, I went on with finding the old man in Riften. After stealing a woman's ring and planting it on an innocent guy, I ran into the sewers, performed some murder, and learned where the old guy was, and ran over to him. Here, I discovered the Thalmor had caught up to me, and I had to fight my way through them until the old man was safe. He told us about a wall that held information on defeating Alduin, so we headed there. I ran past a massive enemies and learned about a shout that could help me. I returned to the Greybeards where they taught me a new shout that would be used only twice in the entire game, and spoke to their master, a dragon who had been just chilling on this mountain forever. After talking to him, he told me about the Elder Scroll, which is like a movie saying the title of the movie in the movie.
The only way for me to solve this crisis is to be Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Before learning more about the Elder Scroll, I began a staple of every Skyrim playthrough, exploiting. To fully prepare and level up my magic, I used a combination of the Dawnstar chest and quick saves to rob vendors, disenchant everything I could, and enchant everything else to reach level 100 in enchanting, and get fully leveled enchanted mage gear. This mage gear would be a combination of boosting my magicka regeneration and total magicka, and also having my destruction magicka be a total of 0 cost. This sentence took maybe 20 seconds to say, but the process took about 2 hours. By the end, I had gear that made it cost 0 magicka to cost destruction spells though. After that, I talked with a strange man at an iceberg and went on to get the Elder Scroll. After clearing out the entire dungeon and spamming buttons to solve a puzzle, I was rewarded with the Elder Scroll. Reading it at the throat of the world, I saw back in time and learned the Dragon Rend shout. Alduin attacked, but with me spamming fireballs with my new gear and him being distracted by Parthenax, the fight was easy. I then set up a peace council to trap a dragon in Whiterun. After hearing a bunch of morons and idiots ramble about a meaningless war, I created peace. Returning to Whiterun, I called a dragon to trap him in Dragon's Reach. I saw a man learn how to fly, and I then flew on the dragon to a faraway place. I then ran through avoiding dragons, blasted some enemies, threw some off a cliff for fun, and struggled with the easiest puzzle in the game for 20 minutes. I then had the same problem as the other rings and could not turn them, so I once again used my forbidden jujitsu known as console commands and phased through the door. Finally, I killed the boss near the portal to Sovngarde because only cowards ran past him to the entrance. Clearing some fog, I fought the donkey from Shrek and got the champions to help me beat Alduin. After clearing more fog, Alduin got mad that we were ruining his landscaping and wanted to come and stop us. Like always, this battle was super easy and anticlimactic because Alduin focused on everyone else but me, but in the end I prevailed and I finished the game as Gandalf. If you would like to suggest any other challenges, leave a comment down below. And if you somewhat enjoyed this video at all, consider liking and subscribing.